Yo, I had the mic muted this whole time, bro. What the fuck? Okay, so as the title says, I'm gonna be working on a new project. Wait, I moved this. Okay, let me move this in here as well, and then this in here. Okay, there we go. So what I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna try to do my own unit test library in C. That's it. I have no idea how to do any of it. I've worked with this, which is JUnit, which is a unit test library for Java, and I used it in the past for a Java class that I had. And honestly, it shouldn't be that hard at first. I'm sure there will be many problems in the future, but you know, like the first few functions, like for example this assert equals, not equal, true, or stuff like that, you know, it shouldn't be that hard. So let me just create the repo and get everything set up so I can start working on it. Boom. Description: a unit test library written in C. Boom. Closure, I guess C. License, I don't know, this one for example. In your personal account, yes. Yeah, I do have templates. Okay, these are not important. Great. Okay, so I do have a git ignore and then a license. Right. C test. Okay. So I guess I'm gonna have to do make the source. I mean, I have no idea how to do a library, like no idea. And I guess an include. And yep, that's pretty much it. I'm also gonna have to do a makefile. Probably, I mean, hopefully it'll just be one header file and then one source file. So don't think I have to do this. Okay. Oops. It's been a while since I last programming C, but fuck it. Is that Blink? Wait, what is Blink? Aries or Aries? I don't know how to say your name. Blink, what is Blink? This is C. GCC source main.c. Oh, I don't know, I guess. Test. Boom, and then I have to go into include and I have to make a, I guess, ctest dot H. Then actually let me get rid of this. Yes. It's gonna be ctest.c. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is what I have. Bro, your Twitch isn't online. Yeah, I'm not streaming on Twitch. I'm streaming here on YouTube. Do you think I should stream on Twitch at the same time? I think, you know, if I'm doing this on YouTube, then I think it's fine. But maybe I can. Actually, I have no idea how to do it. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm using OBS and I don't think OBS allows for multi-stream, I think. I don't know, I might be wrong. But maybe I have to open a new instance of OBS. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna keep it on YouTube and see how that goes. Okay, so let me get this going. I did look this up. Function pointer is a parameter in C. Boom. Okay, I'm gonna put this back in for it. Okay, there we go. Definitely, let's say you have a function, int function 8. So the pointer to it will be int from pointer and then int and float. Then you could use it like this, from pointer equals func, but it also works. What? Maybe it could be std ball, maybe. So let me edit this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this can be pretty much anything, no? Well, let's just keep it as an int. I don't give a fuck. This is expected, and then this will be a func pointer. So how can I do this? To avoid specifying the full pointer every time you need it, you could type def it. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. Do I just have a func pointer then? Function pointer? Like, what is this? Can I actually do this? do I have to do? Like this. What do I have to do? Int. Oh shit, I have to define the parameters that this gets. Damn, this might be tougher than I thought it was. I said by others' answers you can do it as. And then in here you just take the parameters. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say this makes no sense, but I guess if I'm making like a function that takes two values to sum, then it would make like sense to have a int a. Right, so that I can have something like int sum with int a, int b. So in here I could say int sum with a and b. How did you get this one? Okay. So now if I say int assert how can I then execute this? Int and then you receive a and b as well. Sum 10 and 12. Shit. What's up, man? How are you doing? I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm in here trying a new project out. I'm gonna be trying to make my own unit test library in C. How about you? How you're doing? Disable test definitions, maybe. Probably not what I want. Display names, text, classes, methods. Third equals. Default display name generator, not. How often do you use ChatGPT for projects? I feel like I'm a spoiled kid. I know like 5 different languages, but just can't tired running my own project. I don't know what to write or do. LOL. How often do I use it? It depends on the kind of project that I'm doing. If it's like some uni project that I don't really want to do, then I might use it a bit. I mean, I might use it more than if it was like my own project, like the ones that I'm doing here, which I do first for my own entertaining, and then second to learn. I use it for like things like this, like I have no idea how to do a unit test library. I don't know what functions I need to do that, so I just ask it like, hey, what do I need in here? And then regarding, whoops, sorry about that. Then regarding the question of like don't know how to start your own project or do things like that, you can take a look at different programs that you use or tools that you use, and then just try to build your own. That's pretty much, I think, the best thing you can do. Just maybe see the code, see how it's written, and then just try and do one yourself. It's probably not going to be perfect. Most likely it won't work, but that's just what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to understand that the best way to learn is to actually build something. Just get something that you like, and then you can try to replicate it yourself. I say just as like a guide. By the way, is that Edge on you're using on Fedora? No, this is Firefox. I'm using on Fedora. I don't know why. I would like to use Google Chrome, but for some reason my Google Chrome is like completely bugged on Fedora. Like it glitches a little bit. Okay, now it won't glitch, of course. But yeah, I don't know. No, it's not gonna glitch, right? Great. But anyways, I don't know why my Google Chrome does not work. Did you try Chromium? No, I did not. Should I use it? Do you recommend using Chromium? Open source browser product that aims to build a faster, safer, faster, and more stable way for our users to experience the web. But no, this is Firefox. It's what I'm using. I use Chromium because I'm not used to Firefox. Maybe I'm addicted to Google. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I used Firefox because it was like the most known alternative. I didn't even think about Chromium, honestly. The one thing that actually triggers me is that I have my Alt key as like my kind of move across Windows key. And in Firefox, that is also the key that you use to move across different tabs. So, you know, I don't have that that shortcut anymore because it is overwritten by this, which is kind of a bit of a pain in the ass. But you know, maybe I should use Chromium actually. If expected is well, I mean, I have to assert it's SQL, so I just have to say this. Conflicting time for server equals whoops. Print if yay, it works equal, then return 0 as success. Well, actually I should return a true because this is a boolean. And then else with the equal, man. And then I return false. Okay. Boom. So now I should be able to use it in a way where I can say int main, and then I can say, hey, I have assert equal 4 to sum int a and b. I don't know how to do this. Damn. Okay, so I put, okay. So I just put this in here and then I say, whoops, 2 and 2. Yep. GCC source ctest.cs test. Yeah, it works equal. God damn it. Source ctest. Okay, and if I change this back to 3, it shouldn't work now. Not really equal, man. Okay. That's a bit of a, you know, cheap way of doing it. Long function, not recurring initially, but very useful. Okay, this is way out of my scope now. Assert not equal, expected and actual. How can I do this, man? I need to find a way so that the user is able to. How do you do it here? Yeah, failing test, assume true, and then that ABC dot contains set. So I gotta have some sort of expression, right? But that is interesting for sure. I mean, could I have enabled assert equal test with an int expected and then a int expected, and then could I have something like void pointer expression? There's no auto keyword in C, right? Auto keyword C. What the fuck? A vehicle. The hell? Auto is a modifier like static. It defines the storage class of a variable, however, since the default for a local variable is auto, you don't normally need to manually specify. It's used as in the C language. It is there because before the C language there existed a B language in which that keyword was necessary for declaring local variables. Oh, okay, yeah. I remember this. Alright. So I guess it doesn't really work. Okay, so optional parameters in function C, I guess. Optional arguments are generally not allowed in C, but they exist in C++ and OCaml. Is periodic functions like printf. Damn. By the way, you could define some macros to fill the missing arguments, so if you have that, I mean, I guess I will have to use macros then. I mean, I guess this is the way of doing it, right? Like, if this is what C allows, then, you know, that's what I have to do. But how can I do it to know if it has 1 argument, 2 arguments, 3 arguments, different function based on number of arguments? That is what is known as, it was an OOP concept. OOP concepts. Polymorphism, I think that's what it is. Okay, this is Python, yeah. That allows a function to receive any number of arguments. There are situations where we want a function to handle variable number of arguments according to requirement. Variable number of arguments are represented by 3 dots. For example, So then average can have more. Oh yeah, it can. Ooh, this is interesting. Right, so what about this? What about this? What about this? Okay, so let me get this out of here. Whoops. Okay. Which accepts a variable number of arguments, like printf. Huh. Interesting. So this might be what I need. So let me just wave it all. First, I don't know, template done, I guess. Oh shit. There we go. Okay. Boom. Like this, like I have no idea how to make it so that I can add, new things. I guess I could do this, right? Sorry. So equal test. It's gonna happen expected. Right, and then I'm gonna have I don't know, 3 dots. I guess I have no idea what to do with it. Can I do something like, a function pointer, right? Pointer. And then in here have 3 dots. And then in here have 3 dots again. Mind if I ask you your favorite language and least favorite? Yeah, of course. My favorite, I'd say it's C. I think it is. Mainly because it's, fairly simple. Like simple. The syntax is very simple, actually. It's very flexible. It allows you to do a lot of different things, and it's honestly great. And yeah, I just really like programming in C. And then my least favorite, damn, I don't know. I guess I'll have to say something like JavaScript, maybe. I haven't used it that much, mainly because I don't like it that much. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a mess, and I really like the fact that I really like languages with types. I think types are very important when programming. So I think that's very important. But yeah, I mean those. It's not like I've tried many languages. My favorite language is English, and my least favorite is JavaScript. I did not think about that. You are absolutely right. Wait, but didn't you say yesterday you were learning JavaScript? Or am I crazy? Maybe that was another person. I might be crazy. So what the hell does this allow me to do? ISO requires a name parameter before. Okay. That was someone else. Okay, my bad. Are you learning any language right now? Okay, so I'm not allowed to do this, apparently. Fuck. So, I mean, I guess I could have a void param. And then a void. Well, this would be, I guess if it's a pointer, then this would be void param, right? Boom, boom, boom. Yet again, I have no idea what I'm doing, but plug it, bold, assert equal test. Let's just return false by default, boom. Man, I know Python, C#, C++, Java, but I just can't code. Why is that? Did you just not enjoy coding? Or did you just not know what to code? Because I think there's a big difference there. Assert equal test. I mean, if you know Python, you can do so many things. Like, you can pretty much do anything that you want. I know how to read and understand code though. That's great, actually. That's a great skill. C#, C++, Java, but I just can't code. I mean, C# and C++ are great for video games, Maybe you can go that route. Try to make a game, very simple game, like 2D games. I know how to write simple algos. Yeah, Python is my go-to language. Well then, like I said, do you just not know how to code? I mean, what to code, sorry, or do you just not enjoy like the act of coding itself? Import like a million libraries and you're good to go. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much like Python. That's one of the things that I don't enjoy about Python, is just the fact that everything is already built. To just import it and then boom, just one function and that's it. I mean, I guess it's easy to use, but it takes some of the fun away. Assert equal test. God fucking damn it. Okay, so then I have to know this, right? Wait, C++. No. BLS, so I guess I will have to use this one then. This is std art.h. Boom. Like I said, I just don't know how to start a project. I keep resorting to AI. I think I just need to review other people's code until I learn to go by myself. I mean, are you confident in those like programming languages? Like, would you be able to like code or like a simple project, or is it just like some of the syntax and you know how it works a little bit? Because if you're like when I first started doing this, like I had pretty much no idea about anything in C. Like I just used the the standard library and then I just went about that. I just went with that and see how far I got. But yeah, I think what you said, like the reviewing the other people's code, it's a good way to start. Yeah, I can code, but struggle with advanced programming. I mean, you don't need to start with advanced programming. You know, you can start doing simple things like, I don't know, a calculator app, for example. Maybe with C# or C++, you can do a GUI calculator app, you know? Get to work with those things. Also, you can, I'm sure there's like so many different YouTube videos that you can look up. Shit, my voice is raspy. God damn. Maybe you can do like C# starting projects or beginner projects, you know? You know, you can have all these different ideas for how to make a project or what projects to do, you know? And with this, you can just put C++, and then you'll get hundreds of videos as well. But yeah. Whoops. Then again, it's just copying others' code, right? It's not like I'm writing anything by my own cognitive skills. That's what makes me feel dumb. I mean, in this case, it's like, you don't necessarily have to see the entire thing. Like, for example, some of these videos might give you, like, the idea itself. You know, like, hey, you can do this project, right? You can make, like, a simple, you know, 2D game, but then it won't tell you exactly how to do it. It just gives you that first idea, you know, and then from that point, you just start to figure out that project by yourself, you know? You break it down by yourself, you put all different parts together, see how it works. You don't necessarily have to watch like a full tutorial on a specific project. What you just might need is just somebody telling you like, hey, you can build this, but it doesn't tell you how to build it, you know? BA list. Okay, how do I use this though? Initialize BA. Okay, what's the norm? For number of arguments. Oh, so 3 is the number of arguments. Okay. Okay. Currently I'm thinking of making an extension that deletes stuff from YouTube playlist by channel name or keywords, because my watch later keeps maxing out. Wait, is there a limit to the watch later playlist? Watch later playlist max. When any watch later playlist has a max. 5,000 videos. Damn. I didn't know that. Well, that's a good way of, I think that's a very interesting project, you know. It's 5K and I'm a huge procrastinator, although, yeah, I have a lot of different, well, I don't know how many I have actually. Can I see it here? I have 400 videos. Okay, it's not that bad. I thought it was way more than that. I think it's a very good project, honestly. What are you going to be using, Python or what? Well, I guess I'll have to adapt it to this. This is how ISO-C defines the syntax. But extend a function to take a variable number of type arguments using dot notation with std arg. You can implement periodic function that accept an unlimited number of arguments. Its usage is explained in the GNU library manual. So maybe it won't be compatible with Windows. I have decided Python, but maybe I could use a more efficient language like C. Dude, I don't know about that. Using C for something like that is gonna be mental. Like, C does not have that many libraries as Python, you know? And if you want to have access to like YouTube APIs and stuff like that, it's gonna be so much more work than using something like Python. If you're ready for the challenge, then yeah, sure, go ahead. But you know, you're gonna have to pretty much do everything yourself. Connecting to YouTube, making the request, and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be so much more extensive than with Python. Yeah, you got a point. API integration gonna be crazy. Yeah. And then you're gonna have to, you know, work with memory as well. And all that kind of stuff. You know, C is great for many things, but I think APIs and like networking and all that kind of stuff is a bit of a pain in the ass, you know. So my recommendation would be to just stick with Python, or maybe, you know, you can use Java, C#. Might be a bit of a middle point between, you know, low level C and then high level Python. But I think Python is great, you know, for that kind of project. I guess std, this is called what? Std, man, get out. stdarg.h, stdarg.h, okay. Is a header in the C standard library for the, okay, is there any like, I guess this one. Yo, Darko, is this Linux that you're using? Yes, I am using, I am using Linux right now. I'm using, this is Nievich. Wait, do I not have, okay, there we go. I'm using Fedora right now with Wayland, Hyperland as my window manager, and Alacrity as my terminal. That's what I'm using. Looks nice, not gonna lie. Thank you, bro. I did spend a bit of time trying to get everything to look clean. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like those kind of people that just go crazy about their configs and just customize everything. You know, I just want it to look nice, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh. Whoops. Source. Sorry. C test. Okay. Okay, so what can I do here? Except this example is a possible implementation of execl. Alright. So what do you use here? You use ba list ap chart array is the maximum arguments plus 1. I guess this is just in case. Arg number 0, then cool project. Thanks, man. I have no idea what I'm doing, honestly. I just used JUnit in the past. And I honestly thought it was gonna be like way more straightforward, but turns out it's not. So I'm just out here trying to figure out how to do it, you know. Okay, so BA start, arguments is different than 0 and arg node is less than max arguments. Okay. BA end args, but where's my args? So I guess I will need something like this, right? And then I can use, I have a function pointer, that's for sure. And then, shit. That's about it. And I guess I could define something like, you know, define max args. Let's just do 31 as well to copy this guy. Plug it. And then, what can I do? What can I do? I mean, I do need a BA list. That's for sure. Wait, there was this one, right? Okay. Okay, but this average function does not take another function into consideration, which is not really what I want. Can I not do this, for example? Like, could I not do, you know, 3 and 2? 2 of the arguments the function called expected for have 2. And what if I just say this? And fuck you, and then fuck you as well. Result function pointer AB. I guess we're right. Wait, what if I put, okay. B. So I guess it doesn't work like that, huh? Okay, so it's not like that. Two of your arguments, okay, so I can now call it like this then. Fuck. 3, 2, and then this. And this is how it works. Okay. Whoops. So in here you have the file, and then you have the arguments, and then you just have that as well. But I guess args is what holds the different arguments. I guess BA start. BA start. Okay. Well, if this wants to load, then okay. There we go. BA copy, BA start. Previous parameter. What do you do, bro? Don't give me all this bullshit. Okay. Can you give me an example? Arg pointer and int. So this is just the type. what do I have to use in here? Enables access to the variable arguments following the named argument part. And so I do have my list, okay, called arcs, and then I have start arcs with count. Okay, so it's like a way of saying I can start I can start my list with count, which I don't have. Okay. So now I think I know what I have to do. So let's just say that this is my oh no. Okay, function pointer. So I guess my function in this case should have a count, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, the function that I'm executing might not have that count as well. You know, it might just be something else. But at the same time, I do want. Damn. Okay. Cast to smaller integer type int from void. Whatever, dude. Yeah, but this is just a pointer that in a function that has 2 arguments, right? So I cannot really know that. You know, if this had 23, then you know I cannot do it anymore, which is not what I want. I want to have something that allows me to, you know, use this no matter the number of arguments of this function right here. Which I guess this first number could be the count that I'm going to be using, right? But at the same time, you know, could it be count and then count? I guess. So in here I just have to say 2, but then it's going to complain that, you know, I'm not using that argument. Undefined reference to some test. What? Some test. Oh, you're right. Some test. Okay. Okay, boom. So used to having that. Now you can do a test. Yeah, it works. Okay. So I do have this count, right? And then I could say, well, this is not really the count that I want. Anyways, I can just put it in here. Int count. Boom, boom, boom. Let me just Whoops. Okay. So now that I have this, I can say BA start my list. I can start my list of arguments, which is list with count. So argument to be start is not the last name parameter. Yo, what? So this has to be the first one, or what are you talking about? Expected. So argument to be a start is not the last name parameter. Okay. So that's how you want to play it. Alright, that's how you want to play this. Same as about balance in C23. Wait, count can be omitted in C23. Okay. So I can have this. Technically it can't, you know. In count equals be a arc, and then int. So why are you not allowing me to do this? Is it because I'm not using C23? Well, I might have to use C23 for this. Although C99 is like the more established version. So I should do it compatible with C99 as well. Which kind of makes everything a bit more interesting, you know. Okay, so my count has to be the last name argument. Right. So I could put this in count here. I have no idea what I'm doing, like crazy. Okay. So be a list and then count. Okay, now you don't complain, right? We can pause this. I don't know why that got deleted. So now, okay, I do start my list. Great. Access all the arguments assigned to be a list. So for int I equals 0, int less than count. Plus, boom. Access all the arguments assigned to be a list. I mean, that's interesting for sure. You know, that's interesting for sure. Okay. Let me ask something to my friend. In C, is there any method, is there any way I can assign a function depending on the number of arguments that is passed to that function? Let's see it. You cannot directly overload functions. Okay, so it was a low overload. Okay, my func it number of arguments and then this. Okay, and then va end. Then you have my function. Using preprocessor macros were overloaded. You can use macro tricks to choose a different function depending on the number of arguments. How can you do this? Notes, districts don't support runtime argument count dispatch. They rely on compile time macros or manually passing count. C doesn't support true function overloading. This is just a syntactic convenience. Damn. God damn. So I might have to stick with this. Call it like my function and then all this, right? then maybe later I can use something like macro or stuff like that, but I just don't know. Use an array, first element goes to the function with no arguments, etc. Wait. Use an array, first element goes to function with no arguments, etc. So the problem that I'm having, right, is I want a function that takes a function as a parameter, so that inside the first function I'm able to execute the second function, if that makes sense. Second element in array goes to function with bound variable. Wait. Use an array, first element goes to function. So you mean doing something like this, for example, like having, let me put another function. Okay, old test, something like int args, and then with max arg. Do you mean something like this? I kind of get it. Whoops. Is it something like this? What do you mean? Yes. Okay, but then inside of here, like, but then how do I combine this with like the first function that I want? So I would have a function pointer in here, and then that. The problem here is that I want to do a function that kind of works no matter the number of arguments that this function has. That's the problem that I have. If it makes sense. Pointer, and then I would have to do something like, that's the thing that is causing me trouble right now. Pointer, sorry, and then dot. Like, I just don't know how to put it in a way where I'm able to execute this function no matter the number of arguments that this function has. Right. I mean, this is a good idea for sure. Use a particular identifier form pointer. Then shut the fuck up, maybe. Okay. I'm thinking maybe I can do something like a function that allows you to maybe first define the total number of arguments, maybe. Oh, I see. In higher level languages, you would pass the vars inside a dictionary or a key value collection. Damn, yeah, in higher level languages, but I mean, I'm sure there's like dictionaries in C, but that's a way of putting it. Data structures, quick way to implement dictionary in C. Implementation of map or dictionary. Whoops. One approach is to use two arrays, one for the keys and one for the values, where the key at index I in the key array corresponds to the value at index I in the value array. I'll try to find my C struct. Wait, you have a dictionary in C? Yes. Okay, let me get this out of here. Get this out of here. I'm also gonna get this out of here. Yep. Okay, so I'm thinking about things. I'm bad at archiving my code, something like this. I'm waiting for you. Okay, wait. Is it the same chat? Cool project doesn't. Yeah, I think it is. Okay. Struct nil object struct pointer nil object void object. Wait, what? Yo, this might be a little too advanced for me. Okay. Struct nil object struct. Okay, let me put this in my program to see if I can like correctly understand it. Right, this is not what I want. That's for sure. Invalid application of size of. Sorry, the code fragment I found isn't complete. Okay. So I guess this is what's missing. Nil object keys equals no. Nil objects equals no. Okay. So you passed it by like different things. Okay. Hold on. So first I have to put this first message, right? Boom. This. Then I have to put this in here, maybe. Then this as well. Whoops. God damn. Okay, this is like way too much code at once. Struct nil object struct. Struct object struct keys, array of keys, and then you have an array of objects. Okay. Struct nil object struct pointer nil object void object. You have void value void function pointer struct nil object get. And then set void pointer char as string void function pointer. So is this the entire implementation that you did? Because this might be a little too advanced for me, not gonna lie. You might be way better than me. I mean, not mine. You're definitely better than me. Int main in RGC, okay. Print hello world, void new object, colon new. Yeah, I can paste large chunks of code in here. Damn. New object, null, call new, set one, print call, new get, and then null return 0. Okay, so going back to the idea, right? If I implement this, would you mean that then, like, I have my function on one side and then I get the arguments of said function from this dictionary that you just passed? Or how does that work? I'm just trying to like wrap my head around this whole thing, you know? Yes, from the data structure. Okay, but I mean, that would be a good one, not gonna lie. But the data structure can contain any amount of values. Right. but then at the same time, I think I'm required to know here like number of arguments that this has. I think like in the actual like definition of the function. One thing that I thought is like I can do a struct that kind of has like a pointer to function, and then it has the array of arguments of said function. You know, you can count the arguments in the struct. Function pointer in struct C. Function pointer is a member of a C struct. Okay, so this is a function, right? Allocate memory to hold chars. Yeah, but at the same time, I think I'm required to also know the number of arguments in this one. Fuck. How to learn NeoVim in the sense that such a level to be able to use it on a daily basis for programming notes without some fancy stuff. Currently on Linux, I usually use Vim for simple editing. Column X, column W. Honestly, what I first, but Shander, do you want to like learn NeoVim with like cool plugins and all that kind of stuff? Like, you know, let's say for example, I want to search for word main, and then I have in here like, what is it that you want to learn about NeoVim? Is it the keybinds, like the how to move around the file and all that kind of stuff? What is it that you want to learn? Like now that you use Vim, do you also use the like the Vim keybinds to move around, or do you just use like the arrow keys? You know. I mean in the data struct. Yeah. I mean I think I get your point, but I think I'm required to put it like this. You know, where I have here like the two arguments that this has. You know. Like I could have the, yeah, I mean I just don't know how to make this compatible with like all types of functions. My guess is that part of your problem is the parameter list not matching. Are not the same. It should be int length and then. Wow, it's John. Edit as mentioned below, your stock pointer is never set to point to anything. So yeah, that might be the problem, that I also have to put that in there. Fuck. So how can I come up with this? You can also use void to send others to the function. Wait, what? So it has length and then void self. And then you parse it back to the type. It's not really what I want, is it? This is not really what I want. Why put function pointers in a struct? Can I put function pointers into a C struct to simulate what? ChatGPT tells me this, but I don't understand it. What did you ask ChatGPT though? Like, what was the prompt? Type that void, pointer callback void, context void call function. Okay, but what is it? The callback struct then? Like, what is the callback thing? C function argument that is a pointer to a function with any amount of arguments. So callback is a struct, right? In this case, like, callback is a struct that ChatGPT gave you. Callback. Or is it just a function that you're trying to call? And then you have call function, yeah. Type def void callback void context. Okay, maybe I can ask it. Can I have a function that allows another function as a parameter in a way so that without knowing the total amount of arguments of the function that is being passed as a parameter, so that I can use a function with 2 parameters or a function with 3 parameters, for example, as argument. You cannot directly pass a function with a completely unknown number of signatures. Use void and manual casting, unsafe but flexible. You can pass a void pointer to a function and then cast it back to the right function pointer type. It's dangerous, but it can work if you know what to expect. In main console store user equals Windows man run callback greet. Void user return 0. Wait, was that also from ChatGPT? What did you just type? Wait, run callback, context. Yes. Yes, okay. I think it's similar to what you want, but I'm unsure. Yo. Suppose we assume func is a type void. And then it just has 2 functions. This is like way too much casting, I think. But this is unsafe, not type checked, and doesn't scale well. Use stdarc in the callee function. But BList forwarding like this is importable and not supported in C by default. You need to redesign it using BList parameters explicitly. Okay, so I have a bar function and then the number of arguments. Then I have a list to start my list, and then I say error, can't forward be a list like this directly. So what do you want me to do then? Like pass a function pointer plus context struct. So I do have my generic function and then I have my context. I think this is way more similar to what you gave me a few moments ago. Struct plus function pointer. So I do have my arguments, then I call my function, and in the call function I just have a generic function f with the context, and then I just call the function with the context. Func to arguments, also with the context, and then I have arguments as context. Okay, and then I just sum these two. So with the call function I pass in this and then a pointer to the arguments, which is the struct. I mean, I guess it's like the easier way of doing this, no? And then instead of like just having int a and b, I could just have an array of arguments instead, you know? Maybe it's like a way of working that around, you know? Type that void generic func void context. I mean, fuck it, let's just try it out. Not gonna lose anything, so so type the struct. Whoops. Okay. I'm gonna have an int args with max args. Yeah, I know it requires a name. Then I'm gonna say test args. Why not? Okay, so then I can have this. What else I need to do? Type def. Okay, but yeah, this is a problem. I guess I can cast it back to the void. Maybe, I don't know. But this has to be void though. Type def void generic function, and then this generic function has a void pointer context as an argument. So this might not be that compatible with different functions as well. Type safe, flexible, recommended. Oops. Func two arguments, and then okay, so this one I could just have something like a generic function and then just a void context. Whoops. Okay, and then but then also my function needs to have a void pointer as an argument as well, which is not exactly what I want yet again. This lets you pass any function plus any argument structure without caring how many arguments it takes. Just pack them into context. Is that so? Func works. Okay, so I just pass this and then some test. Let me just do this. Test void context. Oops. And then this would be test args. Oh, sorry. This is args. Args, yes. 0 and then plus args. Args 1. And then this is pretty much it. I just have to then come in here and declare now my test args equals 2. Well, not really, it should be something like 2. Or maybe it should be 2. Okay. And then I can have a assert equal test with some context. And then this with args. Result of a plus b 4. This lets you pass any function plus any argument structure without caring how many arguments it takes. Just back them into context. The third solution. Is it also type flexible? Meaning, what if the func2args was an int function that returned the sum of a and b? Great question. Yes, the third solution is flexible, but to support functions with return values like return and int, you'll need to slightly modify the sum. As a void signature, if your function returns something like int, you'll need to use void as a generic return. function arguments, return result, free result. Void, okay, so it doesn't really change anything. So what if I can just go in here and say your type int result then I just have that, and then result is that, so I just return the result now. Wait, was this always a pointer? No, right? No, it wasn't. But in here, the function is not of type int, right? Nope. Return args, sorry. Incompatible function pointer types passing in to parent generative function. Initializing int with an expression of type void. Fuck me, bro. I had no idea this was gonna be that fucking twisted, man. Start equal test and then context and then the text. Yes. Okay. Result of A and B. Yes as well. But then yes, I'm gonna be required to know the total, like, oh wait. Wait. Oh, did you just want array unpacking? Args full bar, full, and then args result in full and bar. So args full and bar, and then full with a pointer to arguments will result in full with full and bar. Yeah, I think I get what you want, but the problem that I'm having is this is supposed to be like, you know, for people to test their functions. So, you know, what if I have my function here, right? And I want to test it out. What I want is just something that I can just put my function, right, with the arguments, and then that, you know, and then just test it. So for example, I want to see if 4 equals to this function in here that takes these 2 arguments, that takes 2 and 2. So, you know, technically, if my function is correct and it sums 2 and 2, it's return 4, which, you know, should be equal to the expected 4, right? I don't want the user to have to change the function that they're doing to test it out, if that makes sense. What are you doing? I am doing a unit testing library, or trying to, pretty much, because I have no idea how to do it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. It is inspired by JUnit. That's pretty much it. Before each init, before all. Like, I don't know if I explain myself, you know, object. You know, I want people to use this so that they can test their functions. But I don't want them to have to change their functions in order to test them out, you know? Just because the tool does not allow them to. That's what I want to, like, fix. Surgical test. I think I got it. I used to test frameworks like this in Ruby. I'll keep looking for you. I mean, you don't have to, but I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, that's what I want to do, you know, a unit test framework. I mean, what I could do, which is like a bit of a, you know, not that great implementation, would be to have something like this. Let me just delete all these different things. Third equal, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna keep this in here, but then I'm gonna delete this, and keep this the way it is. Okay. Third equal. Okay. And then I don't need this. Alright. What I'm thinking is that this could be a third equal int, you know. So this is for int. Then I could have another for, you know, double, for example. So this is a double, but then also the function would have to be the same type, right? Or at least in this case, it would have to be double, I guess, and then double, I guess, and then this would also have to be double, double. JUnit implementation or source code. JUnit, boom. JUnit framework. So maybe I can take a look at this. Damn. 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 Okay, so how can I JUnit Jupyter migration support, JUnit params, source, main, Java. God damn. I didn't think it was going to be this heavy though. GitHub pages 2 weeks ago. Okay, whatever. JUnit framework, JUnit break. I mean, maybe, right? Maybe what I can do is, still not too sure about it. I can keep this in here, right? So maybe the user can do some test. Assert equal, does not support function declared. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I could have something like this, which is test rx. Rx equals, then I say, 2 and 2. Right, you put this in here. But then what I can do is, in this declaration, I can just have I can just have the count, I guess, the count of arguments that I have on that thing. But then yet again, I don't know how to implement that in here. I mean, I do need my function pointer, that's for sure. But then I would also need my, the number of arguments that I have. So if I have something like int count and then, right, this in here, conflicting types for this. Right, my function has number of arguments and then that. Okay. What just happened? What just happened? There we go. So I do need my function pointer, which is for sure guaranteed. Then I do need to have the expected value as well, right? Now if this is expected, then the type of the expected should be the same as the type of the function, I guess, and then the number of arguments is yet to be defined, conflicting types, I don't give a fuck. Maybe, hold on, maybe this should be the, okay, let me use the equal test. Equal test, and then I have this function, and then I have count, and then this, and I have count, and then this. Okay. So could I do something like, oh, how can I do that? Be a list, be a start, and then how do I get the arguments though? Okay, so I just have that there, I guess. So I could just say be a list, be a start equals the list, sorry, be a start, the list with count. Okay. On the way I can see is to register the test functions and define the arguments. But like in a fixed way, test case, test addition, test failure. So what do you mean, like having, like, yes, in a fixed way. Okay. So like having very specific tests, like, you know, a function that takes only 2 arguments, for example, then one that only takes 1, you know, for example, for like the failure, to see if it fails. That's kind of what you're talking about. Okay, so no. Okay, this is not gonna work. Whatever I was thinking about, it's not gonna work. Yes, so you need to include number of arguments and types, I think. So it would, okay, register test addition to int. Where do you get this from, like this whole register test thing? Do you like look for an already built unit test library in C? Or like how was that? Or did you just come up with it? Okay, so I register my test and then addition. Okay, so I guess but in this case, is test addition a enum, or is test addition the actual function that I'm going to try? Like, I don't know if it makes sense. I think test addition is the function itself, right? This is ChatGPT. Damn. Define test addition, assert 1 + 1 = 2. Define test addition, assert 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, yeah, that kind of is what it is. So this is kind of like what I had before, right? Like the whole register test thing, it's like literally this. Right? Like it's literally this. I have my function, and then I have my 2 arguments. You also think I should have something like int number of arguments, for example. Assert equal int, and then int expected. And types, I think. Okay, but define test name. Then void name, void define register test, I'm not sure. I'm used to having introspection methods for this type of data. Let's see if I can probably like have this. Has it define test with a name void. Register test name with name as a name. And then type def void test function, type def struct test case. Why is it always like this? There we go. Okay. So then I define a struct of a test case, which is this, and then this, and then this. So I have a name of the function, and then I have the function, the test case. But then when I register the name, I only add the name to it. And then you have this, define test, the test of this and this. What library do I need? Whoops. Assert.h makes sense. Assert.h, boom. Function test addition defined in a header file. Function definition in a header file can lead to audio violations. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of lost in this thing. Not gonna lie. Unit tests in C. Unit test in C. C unit. Brief out C unit installation in this command. Okay, so let me check this thing out. Maybe I can get like some idea of how this thing is done. Okay, so like here I have my int function, which has two arguments of type int, right? And then I have co assert, I guess equals, okay, here I have it, add 2, so the function 2 and 3 equals 5. Okay. So test add. Okay, so I just have all these different things in here. Then I have co initialize register, whatever that might be. Then I have co psuit test shoot. And then the C code which given in top, so copy and paste it here like this. We set up a test suite saying math test suite. Oh, sweet. I don't know how to say that. Okay, so then I have to have the total, the run, passed, failed, and inactive. And you will be able to deploy it in your IntelliJ IDE. Test of test at, and basic run test, cleanup registry. Whoop. What the fuck? JUnit library. Documentation, screenshot, contacts, and sample code. Damn, is there not a way to look at the code itself? Okay, that's the documentation. JUnit User's Guide. Programmer's Reference. The complete software platform. Okay, what are you talking about? Table of contents, introduction, description, structure, general usage. JUnit, okay. There we go. Cell, makefile, ROF, C++, what? What's going on? Config.h. 10 years ago. Damn. Define to have one if you have the C type header file. Sources, and then you have all this different. You have a widget as well. Why would you need this? Automatic basic.c. I mean, I could understand how that one works, you know. Typedef, enum, arc in, arc of float, arc pointer, add more as needed. Arc type. So a enum of types to define your type. Yeah, that makes sense. Arc type, type arcs, 10 types of each argument, max 10 arcs here. Arc type, return type, return type. Function meta. So is this following like the things that you sent before? Like the, the find test and then register text? Like, is it all part of like the same chat in ChatGPT, or is it a different one? Int add int a, int b return a plus b. This is a meta approach. Function meta, add meta. Wait, what? What is a meta approach? Okay. I know what it is. Add void add to argint. Okay, so this is a pointer, right? Yeah. Like metaprogramming metadata. Okay, yeah. Whoops. So this would be, wait, let me put it in here. I mean here. So this would be like the name of the function, right? The function itself, the number of arguments, and then the type of each argument. I don't know what this is. Is it the type of the function itself? Is that what you mean? Like, is that what it is? Let me put you back in there. Then you just need to call the function based on the data. But based on what data though? The data of both arguments, or the data of like the type of the function itself? Whoa. The description of the function, e.g. how many arguments, what types are they, what type does it return? Okay. So you just mean like having, like based on these different parameters, right? Like the type of the arguments, and then the type of the function itself. Then once you have all that, you mean executing a specific function for that, right? Like a specific function for a function that it has two arguments of type int, and it's type int the function itself. Clean suit void. Yes, you need to know the specifics of the function to be able to call it. I mean, I think that's a very good way of going about it, you know? That way you know exactly what you want each time you execute the function, or the test, rather than the function. Yeah, I think it makes sense though. yeah, I mean, in here, for example, the JUnit library has, assert string equals, which is this type of string, and then you have the expected, and then you have the actual value that you want to test, And then you have testing pointer operations. So you assert pointer function that equals to 10. That might be a bit more complex, Okay, but for example, right? What this guy did was, in main, you do this, and then you have to add a suit. And then you add, to the current suit, you add a number, a name for the function, and then you add the function itself, right? Which means that maybe once you have that added inside of the whatever struct this is, right, then maybe you can do what you said, the whole, now that I know, well, maybe it doesn't add anything in here regarding the amount of arguments or the type of the arguments and all that. I know you may try this person. Dude, there has to be a way of knowing this. Like, there has to be a way of knowing this. No, I don't want Windows. Fuck that. Basic.c, and where is headers? Basic.h, JUnit.h. Is this it? Global type definitions to be used for Boolean operators. Record a pass condition without performing a logical test. In JUnit, the tester defines a wrapper method. The test suit then calls the wrappers. That's a body way also. It all depends on how you want to write the test. So you build a wrapper of test, which in this case, right? What was it? This is the wrapper, right? Or well, what is it? The tester defines a wrapper method. Yeah. So this would be the wrapper, right? Then it calls the wrappers. That's about the way it goes. Then the test suit then calls the wrappers. That's about the way also. It all depends. Yeah. But at the same time though, how does the suit know these things, right? In the same wrapper, can there be like different functions? Meaning that I'm testing add in here, but can I also test, I don't know, subtract? Like how can all of those things happen, That's what I'm curious about. CO basic run tests. So maybe I can get a CU run test, basic.c CO run tests. It's just a function, you can do anything inside it. Yeah, but for example, look at this thing though. Look at this example. Right, when you say this, right, CU assert at 2 and 3 equals 5. This is not like two separate arguments. Like you just have the first one, you just have like a combine, which is the function itself then equals 5. Like it's not like you have, whoa, this, right? That's also a very interesting way of doing things, How do they do it? CU, maybe I can go in basic, no, not here. Headers, okay. CU curses, error, CUnit.h, console.h, test run util.h. They are two assertions. CO assert will be a wrapper for assert. Okay. So it would be like a way of saying, you know, assert that, right? Assert exists the app if it wait, assert exists the app if it gets false. Oh, exits the app if it gets false. Okay. So maybe you're saying that, you know, CU is like a way of, like a similar behavior to assert, but it doesn't exit the app. If it gets false, it just like reports false on the, like whatever they have to, you know, like this thing, it just says false there. I mean, that's a very interesting thing. CU assert. Yeah, sorry, my terminology is an example. Yeah. No, yeah, it's not like my terminology is like better, you know. Okay, so here you have it. Define CU assert value. CU assert implementation value, line value. What the fuck is this? You have CU test fatal, CU assert implementation. But in this case, what is CU assert implementation? Assert implementation. Test db test run string method h. So how do you get this though? Well, I don't want to go there. Oh, look at this. You have this for every single thing, right? You have pointer not equal, pointer no, string equal, double not equal. Assert double not equal fatal. Double not equal, double equal fatal. Okay, so you just have all of those things to find there. Okay, well, I might have to start working with this way. Yet I have no idea where this CU assert implementation comes from. CU, what do you have? Test run.h. Do you have test run.h? Yes. So maybe you have in here assert implementation. CU assert implementation. Okay, let me go back. Value of the assertion, CU true or CU false. Line number of failed test statement. A string containing logical test that fail. source file where the test statement failed, function where the test statement failed. So I guess this is just then to report, right, the results of the test. Return as a convenience returns the value of the assertion. What the hell? Well, I think I'm gonna leave it for today. I don't know. I might stick with this project, but it's. I thought it was gonna be way easier than it turned out to be. I don't know why I thought it was gonna be that simple, you know. But yeah, I might have to, dig a bit deeper into the whole JUnit. Maybe I'll take a look at a JUnit as well to find some like more inspirational things to do. But yeah, I might come back tomorrow with the same project. I don't know. I'll have to take a look. Anyways, nil object. Thanks for all the tips and suggestions that you made. I'm sorry if I didn't use any of them. I was just very lost this whole time. So yeah, sorry about that. I'll try to pay more attention to all the things that you give me in the future. Okay, what am I doing? Boom, boom. Good work. You've gotten the interest in looking more into it. Thanks for the stream. Have a good one. Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for being here and also being very helpful into finding different things, suggesting different things. Helping me out. It's been great. Yeah, I think I stuck with it just to get a deeper understanding of how this whole thing works and try to get like a more or less working version. But yeah, that's what I'll do. Anyways, see you.